Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you had to make a tough decision and your mind just won't stop racing? Well, I want you to know when there's certain decision makings that you're thinking and you have to move right away, you can seem like I can't get clarity. I've been thinking about it, which way to move, what decision to make, and you can't get clarity about it. I've been there, and I know you've been there too. So, in fact, we've all been there. So, today I'm going to take you down to share three or four, actually, four steps, four questions you're going to ask yourself how you can make a decision and a powerful one. So stay tuned. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm Dr. Cheryl Clark, and for the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to be talking about how to empower your decision makings, just using very simple questions, powerful questions, right? To just have this process of this everyday thing that we go through is asking and making decisions. And at the end of the video, I want you to get these four questions that I want you to begin to ask yourself. And I want you to get very clear that facing tough decisions is a part of life. But I want you to make it so simple that you're able to now help yourself gain the clarity when you need it and move forward when you need it, and even when you feel uncertain, because there are times you're going to feel uncertain. So I'm going to dive right in and get your pen, get your pencil, get whatever you need, your smart, pad or whatever it is. Go tell someone to share it, because we're going to get started right now. If you are this is the first time you're here, I usually tell you to get your whatever you're going to get out. So I'm going to put my handy dandy little pad up here, because I'm going to do some notes here to guide you along the way, because sometimes we need visuals to guide us. So I'm going to jump right into the first question. Will this decision help me grow? Now I'm going to write that down. The first question, we're going to have four. So number one question, will this decision, and remember we were talking about decision making, decision make me grow? All right? Question mark. That is your first question. Will it help me grow? And there are points in our lives that decisions that whether we're going to make it a shift for our career, whether if it's staying comfortable, whether it's in a relationship, and we got to ask ourselves deeply, if I make this decision and go in this direction, will it help me to grow? Will it help me to grow? Let me tell you how this can make any sense. You're like, how can this make any sense? Well, when I'm talking about, I'll just explain a little bit of why when you're making a decision, you got to ask yourself this question: will this help me grow? Because not every choice or every decision is going to feel comfortable. Not every decision that you make is going to either stretch you, or it may stretch you. It may push you out of your comfort zone. And that is the thing, the decision, when we make these decisions, and you have to ask yourself, will this decision make me grow? So let me explain a little bit about the growth question here. When you're making a decision, you're asking yourself, will this help me grow? I want you to see is this choice. Like, let me give you an example of me. I was in a comfort zone at my position as a therapist, very comfortable, and I had to make a decision that was going to stretch me. And what was very clear about this decision is that sometimes a decision that we're moving into, we may not like it, but it's necessary for our success. And without growth, success may not happen. And it may look like in a moment that you were struggling in that. So the decision that I had to wrestle with in my career, I should say, is I had to be able to move forward and stepping out to my own practice, or I could stay where I was and take the supervisor position. Now, would that have made me stronger? Now, I already was a supervisor there, but they wanted me to be the director of the clinic. And I know that this did not resonate with me. And I had to make sure that am I in my comfort zone? Because I can run that clinic with my eyes closed. I knew all the policies. I knew the therapists there. They trusted me. I had a great team. But I knew that I desired to have my own. I desired to step out of my comfort zone. And those strong indicators, whether it be in your career, whether it be in your relationship, whether it's a sense of you to saying, I need to move. And if there are decisions going on, you need to look at see how is this decision bettering me? Is this decision making a strong version of who I desire to be? Is this an indicator of this sense of decision is going to be a right choice for me in this moment? And embracing the growth is sometimes a decision that won't always bring you immediate success. I want to say that because it is necessary for the journey for sometimes for you to feel uncomfortable. So the decisions that you're making, you have to look and see how is this decision helping me to grow? The second question I want you to ask this decision is my decision based on ego versus purpose? This is a big one. Is my decision based on ego versus purpose? Now, I want you to see this. If you are looking in this space where what is an ego-driven decision? Now, let me just explain what an ego-driven decision is, because this step and this question is very crucial, right? Because it helps you to identify whether your decision is truly aligned with your purpose, or if it's ego-driven, or is the space how are you? Is it going ego-driven? Is it based on? Is it going to be a title? Is it hooked on with a status? Am I getting validation for someone? Is it easy to get caught up in the external rewards, but you will not have lasting fulfillment? Because the most important question that we often overlook is how are you making these decisions? And if they're based on your titles, if they're based on status, if they're based on external validation, then it may not be truly aligned with your purpose. So a purpose-driven decision will be truly based on happiness and peace from the decision. And your alignment is not based on your ego. See, there's times in my life where our decisions could have been based on impressing people. Now you got to think about that too. Is your decision based on you doing a people pleasing type of decision? Because your decision should never lead you away from fulfillment or purpose. It's all if you're always chasing something outside of yourself, that is an indicator that decision is not purpose filled. See, when I started my journey of speaking your power now in this platform, there was moments of my decisions, or even when I stepped up to my own practice, it was based on what I was looking into a little deeper. And I realized what I was seeking or may have been seeking was self-approval, external approval. And the approval is really fulfillment of your life. Because I need to move back a little because there was a time there at my clinic, I was a supervisor for many years and it was getting mundane. I wasn't happy. I became a paper pusher. And it wasn't about the people anymore. So it didn't make me fulfilled, because when you move out of supervising, you don't necessarily be with the people. You don't necessarily be a one-on-one seeing people's lives change. You are now being with the therapist, and you're supervising. So therefore, my decision making took me away from being fulfilled with seeing people's lives transformed. So as I'm doing this, I understand that the decisions that you're making, you have to see, am I looking good for others? Or the answer has to be clarity for you. This is why I started the Speak Your Power Now program, because now I recognize that in this space, how I quiet my ego is that my true voice will come through with helping others find their voice. And that's the question you need to ask yourselves. Is this decision coming from an ego space, or is it aligned with my true purpose of impacting the world, impacting my community? Because when you make those decisions based on your authentic values, your authentic self, you're gonna feel more fulfilled, regardless of the income, sometimes the outcome, regardless of the outcome. Because you got to differentiate the decisions. Is it an external expectation, or is it aligned deeper with your internal purpose? And moving through that, you get to recognize what that looks like for you and where you are supposed to be in life. Now, let's go to the third question. The third question is the decision of a low stake and a high stake decision. So let's look at the low stake or a high stake decision. Now, what does that look like? A low or high stake? Now, I want to teach you about the two different concepts. Now, let's take low state. The low state can be something that can be reversible or changed. Decision that, like, if you book a hotel room, you can change it. Your subscription service, maybe a return policy, things of that nature. That's a low stake. The cost of time versus energy is reversible, right? Those things are reversible. Those are low stake and low manageable. Likely you can reverse it. And the impact of your decision is maybe temporary, or it's not very long term, right? So it's not a permanent fix if you get this decision made. So these decisions, they don't need a lot of hours of deliberation. For a decision that's very reversible or very easy. So if you do have to figure out what toothpaste to buy, or what hotel you should stay at, or why waste energy on those little low stake things, because you can get a refund or it may be inexpensive, whatever the case may be. The decision you make should be very quick and you move on. That's just low stake. Now, the goal here, when you're making these decisions and making any choices, you got to actually look and see how to practice making these quick decisions, because low stake things, you start with that so you can then preserve your mental energy when it comes to high stake, right? Because high stake are critical decisions that we all have to make, right? May have lasting consequences. So making decisions of quitting a job, moving to a new country or state, starting or ending a relationship, those decisions may not be reversible. Those decisions may have significant stress connected to it, right? And may have loss, maybe financially, emotionally, or time, whatever it is. And undoing that decision may have to, you have to put a considerable amount of more time and effort into making that decision, which is a high stake decision. So in these decision makings, maybe it's a career, maybe your relationship. Now, the decisions take a little bit more time. So I want you to consider maybe the risk when you do the risk factor there, right? I want you to analyze that. What will be the risk? And I always suggest listing out pros and cons. Take your time. There's no rush. I used to be somebody that used to rush into decisions. I take time now before I even put something or I buy something, I put it in the cart and I deliberate what are the pros and cons of buying something, especially when you should never buy something when you're in an emotional state. Just to be, because worst case scenario, you'll probably do emotionally. And the decision that you make on the downside can have consequences. So you want to make sure that when you are looking at the decision makings and are they low stake or high stake, and see if the low stake is reversible. That's how you can tell the difference. Or a high stake decision carries consequences and it's harder to undo. So you want to take time to plan those out. The fourth question: does the decision excite me? Now, I like this one. Does it excite you? We're coming down. Does the decision excite you? Are you excited about it? Are you excited about your decision that you're about to make? So I want to shift just a little bit about why I connect this, your excitement, because usually some decisions that are focusing on your passion, I want to focus on your passion. And I want you to look at making a decision. Does it energize you? Even when there's a little uncertainty around it, does it energize you? And I want you to take a time, a moment right now, and I want you to see how, when things, when you made a decision, very meaningful things, were you excited about it? Now, listen, excitement and nerves and all those things, they do come together with decision making. I'm not going to even diminish that. There will be nerves around making any type of decisions. And some things may excite you more than the other. So when you're moving into this, you got to look and see what feels right to you. And in the moment, like I said before, every decision does not guarantee success. But in the feeling of how you went with your gut in that direction, way to go, and you thought it out, it gives you an example of how you can make a real difference. Prime example, this platform, Speak Your Power Now. I was excited, but also nervous to get on YouTube. I was excited to share what I know, but I knew I needed to do this, get out my little private practice, my office, and working one-on-one and getting into groups, because sometimes, you know what, this lit a fire in me. I understood that I needed to move out of my comfort zone. And I'm excited about this path that I'm taking. I'm excited sometimes about the unknown. I'm excited about meeting new people. I'm excited about getting your questions. This is what it looks like. So I want to encourage you to tap into your own excitement. And sometimes we may not understand or what that looks like. This is why I say get your paper down and decide and make a decision of what excites you. You know, in my course, when I'm talking about finding your voice, I talk a little bit about the fear. Even when there's fear there, you got to get to the root of what the fear is. Because sometimes deep down inside, what may energize you may also bring up a little fear. And that is a powerful sign that it's worth taking the risk at times. Because sometimes your decision may light you up inside, but it also may light a fire on someone else. So while there is fear, which is very natural, the excitement is the indicator that you may be on the right track. So I want you to look at your expertise. I want you to look around what excites you. You know, all my work and working with clients in my therapeutic services, I had my clients really distinguish the difference between what fear protects them and what fear holds them back, because that's crucial, because they both are there. Something is protecting you, and that fear is holding you back. And it's critical to recognize the excitement beneath the fear. That's the thing that makes you go. That's the thing, the passion that ignites you. That's the thing that makes you say, okay, I'm going to make this decision. So, the thing that I want you to really consider after you got these four questions, and the number one question is, Will this decision help me grow? The second question, is it based on ego or is it based on purpose? The third question is it low stake or high stake? And the fourth one, does it excite me? And I want you to consider, while you have excitement and while there may be fear or trepidation there, I want you to put some practical things in place. I want you to see when you're moving into decision making, ask yourself these questions when planning. Do I have the resources to support this decision? And when this decision happens, what will be the consequences? Sometimes the timing isn't right. That's okay. But the decision that you're making, I don't want you to put it in a wrong or right situation. It means you need to do just a little planning surrounding it. I want you to get a balance surrounding your decision making and recognizing when you are moving in a plan, when you are not rushing into things and maybe being impulsive with your decisions. I want you to never hold back in speaking about it. Maybe you need someone to walk you through. This is what I did for a lot of my clients for many years, and I still do. Take the time, the excitement, and channel it into what actions will I take right now? Because certain things need to be in a space where you have to put the clarity in order for you to gain the confidence even to make some decisions. So let's just wrap it up just a little bit. So even though you're faced with tough decisions every single day of our lives, I hope that these four questions, well, the four questions that will it help me grow? Is it my decision ego versus the purpose? Or will it excite me? Is it a high stake, low stake, whatever the decision is? I want you to look and see how you can gain clarity and confidence even to make even the smallest decisions. And I want you to see and practice a framework that helps you make decisions in all your processes, because decision making is a process. And if you found that you don't have the right words to say, or take a moment. You don't have to be rash with your decisions. You don't have to rush into any decision. See, the power comes into you. You feel good about when you made that decision. And no matter what happens, know that you're growing through the process. Know that you're moving through making decisions. We make decisions every day. And the daily decisions is a subtotal of who you are. So, all right, I hope this video was helpful to you. If it was, like it, share it out to someone that you think that needs a little more clarity around their decision making. And of course, hit that subscribe button, like it, share, so you don't miss any content coming down the pike. And I want you to remember this, my line, that sometimes that your life is defined by one single choice. Let that be today. I want to say this moment is defined by one single moment. Let that moment be today. So take the action, trust yourself in your decision making. This is your opportunity. Thank you again for watching. Until next time and our next video. Have a great one.